railway home, maybe you're on a bus or tram, could be any one of these things, then get yourself to the bin right at the front, not the bit where you put your chewing gum in, but the bin where the Metro newspapers are. If you pick up a copy of the Metro, you should get a £5 off 25 voucher from Lidl. But that's not why we're here. It's just a useful fact. This is an added value part of listening, checking in, figuring out what the hell is Mr. Simple. And to be quite frank, the way today's gone, I've got no idea either. Intake of breath. Right, so summer's gone, so happy autumn. Hope you're all ready for Christmas. Got my first Christmas present zooming through the post yesterday, so everything is all set. But that's not why we're here. We're not here for this either, which has just come through the post. Black salt. If you are vaguely interested in a vegan alternative to mayonnaise, then apparently the sulfuric properties of black will turn GABA, which is the liquid that you find in the bottom of chickpea tins, into a trustworthy, excitable alternative to that thick, gunky white stuff. So I'm really excited. That's the egginess. So if you sort of blend stuff together, hasn't got eggs in, you generally have to find something else that will substitute for egg. And I only found out in the comments for some random video, because we've all been down the YouTube rabbit holes over the past few months. So there we go. Hey, so right, reason for the conversation today is I was thinking about it this morning before I really got stuck in. I've spent 7 hours solid in flow, Spotify as my guide, listening to some crazy autumnal jazz playlist, working on a crypto related project, and that's all I'm allowed to say. I am bound, I'm bonded, I'm gagged, I'm silenced, and to be honest, I think most people would prefer that was a permanent fixture. However, I'm obviously mouthy now and back to my outspoken self. And one of the things that I was writing about before I got into it today was the urgency for simplicity. And I've covered this in some detail, limited amount of detail in the past. I did something about plain English before on LinkedIn. I haven't even had time to do my hair, for God's sake. And I've got to get to Asda. Things need buying. So I just been sort of wrapping my head around what it actually means to be simple in business, what it means to be simple anywhere. And the reason why most business books are awful, the reason why most websites are terrible. And it all boils down to the hippo, that's the highest paid person in the organization, thinking that in order to exert expertise, you need to confuse and confound. You need to not remove complexity, but you need to actually add to it. And there are loads of industries these days that suffer this same fate. From insurance all the way through to the aforementioned digital currency world and blockchain and Bitcoin stuff. It's all like, wow, blows your mind. But the best teachers, David Milan, looking at you, Kurzgesagt, same thing, Khan Academy, hat tip. These guys spend 80% of their time because they know what you need to know. They spend 80% of their time breaking it down. It's not only bite-sized chunks, but it's actually using a language that you'd understand. It's none of this inside baseball jargon that a lot of so-called experts pride themselves in. But what is teaching, if not a clear demonstration that you understand the subject matter? So why the heck is every organization doing its best to confuse and confound? It makes no sense to me, and sense is why we're here. So, Dave Thackeray, writer, sometimes presenter, fascinated in baking, hence the black salt. I'm here to sort of run through some ways that you can get simple, hence the Mr. Simple tag. So, right, okay, starts with language, right? You don't know where your customer comes from. And let's be honest, you don't know your customer. That will come as a bit of a shock. You'll know some. Your cheerleaders, yeah, you might know them vaguely. You won't be on the phone to them every day. You might not be listening to feedback through the call center every day. You should be, because analytics really are everything. I'm not really a big fan. I'm not subscribed to this whole data is the new oil thing, but I do think that qual and quant stuff can transform your business if you know how to use it. But because you don't know all of your customers, you've got to break it down to the protein parts, to the simplest level. And actually, even your most revering of clients of pontificate it, of and also who by reading a beginner's guide to has not picked up the odd tip, or you've created so many bad habits that actually by learning at grade 1 you actually realize that all of those things that you've been doing, all of those little problems that you've been gnashing over for years actually don't need to exist, because if you just followed those rudimentary frameworks, those first principles, you would never have built up those bad habits. This is why a lot of people have things like mouth guards and stuff. I'm not talking boxes. There's a very different reason for that. But if you've got a mouth guard, if you gnash your teeth, right, chances are it started by an error on your part, right? So if you'd have your jaw may be misaligned, right? So if you'd have kept your jaw aligned in the first place, you wouldn't need these mouth guards or these things that stop you from grinding your teeth at night. Anyway, that's just a by the by. But what I'm saying to you is, you cannot be simple enough. Everybody in your world, on your axis, in your orbit, will be thankful that you're explaining it in a way that even the newest colleague or the newest customer would understand. Right. So you know that. You don't know your customers. Some of them may be from international climates. So somebody pops into your online store, big fan of the booties that you're selling, or they love your candles. Oh, can't get enough of those scents. But they don't know how to buy, or they don't understand the sense. They don't understand the how they smell, the words that you use, right? So if you break it down, everybody understands vanilla, right? But as soon as you start going off and waxing lyrical about, smells a bit like the inside of a trainer, who understands that? Using colloquialisms, trainer, sneakers, you've got all the confusion there. International punters have got money. So the minute you start talking convoluted English, or using sort of phrases that you only understand in Bolton, then you have alienated those customers and potentially a rich vein of revenue. So there's that. So we know that customers don't know you. We know that you need to make your language accessible to everyone. This is why explainer videos are so good, so powerful. Don't understand three things: why every business doesn't have live chat, why every business doesn't have case studies, and why every business doesn't have the other thing as well. I'll come back to that. I've forgotten. That worked up that things have to be so complicated that I've forgotten my own purpose. That's my thumb, by the way. My own purpose for being here. So customers don't know you. They are probably very smart, but they're not attuned to your inside language, the corporate jargon that you use regularly. So you need to stop using that, and you need to make sure that everything's accessible to everyone. Okay, right. So world is really complicated, yeah? So everywhere you go, there's guesswork. So you need to strip the noise out and cut straight to the chase. So brevity is a close cousin of simplicity. There are so many ways to remove stuff, like even just removing the word "that" from paragraphs will make no difference to the meaning, will make every difference to your word count massive. So if you're seeking a solution, and most websites these days are built based on a top tasks methodology, and you do that by going out to customers and doing a quick survey and saying, okay, what are the things that you struggle with the most that my products or services can help with, right? So straight away they're coming up with 15 or 20 different things, and you're going, well, really, we need a page to address each challenge, each task that the user comes to the website to accomplish or to complete, right? So it could be service-based, or it could be information gathering. That's fine. What you need to do once you've got that stuff together is totally blow the bloody doors off and make it stupid simple. And I will talk to you till the cows come home. No matter what industry you're from, I can figure out with you. We can get together and we can work this out. Solution Seek, they're confounded, they're fearful, they're anxious. What they need now is you to come to their rescue on your big white stallion. And the stallion's name is simplicity, obviously, goes without saying. And don't forget as well that by being simple, you're doing something that your competitors aren't. And that means you've got instant competitive advantage. So instead of thinking about ways that you can optimize your social media feeds and how much money you can spend at TikTok or your PPC on Google Ads, maybe if you just throw another 20 grand at it, the world will turn in a different direction. Bullshit. What you need, if you can pare back your website to the bare essentials, nobody's really bothered about meeting your team. Nobody's really bothered about FAQs either. What are they looking for on your FAQs? You don't know what they're looking for. So how are they going to find it? Nonsense. Restructure your website so that it's simple to understand. It's mapped to your projected customer journeys, because you kind of roughly know the sort of questions that customers are asking to get to conversion. So the website needs to be developed, aligned, and assembled and organized to cater to that requirement. Simple sells. Can't tell you that enough. And back to the very beginning, because now we're finished. 11 and a half minutes in, you've been a Trojan, you've been a genius, and I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with me. Stops me having to go to the shop to do some trivial possession acquiring. The last thing is, the simpler things are presented, the smarter you will look. Back to the very beginning, the best teachers know their content inside out, and that's why they can explain it in the simplest way possible. That's been pretty good. I've enjoyed myself. I certainly hope you have. And this latest episode of Mr. Simple is sponsored by Word and Mouth. And anytime you want to talk simple to me, at Dave Thackeray on Twitter, get me on LinkedIn, or pray to the gods, because somewhere I'm there with them. Have yourself a great day. Enjoy your afternoon. It's weekend tomorrow. Your first 5-day week, probably after summer. Kids are back, thank the Lord. Don't know how long for. Look out for a fire break in October, contrary to what the Department for Education might be saying. Who knows? But anyway, enjoy yourself. Have a good weekend. It's just around the corner. And thank you on behalf of Word of Mouth and Mr. Simple.